When I first get onto Team Fortress 2, I always like to warm up by playing Ghost Town. It's a fun mode that either people see as terribly hard or terribly easy. With a group of 6 players that are good and communicate well, you win every time. Try to win with just 4 engineers for example, and any hopes of winning will be futile. From helping yourself beat it, or helping others instead, here is my ultimate guide to Wave 666. First of all, I would highly recommend looking at the contents or description for what class you are looking for, as this video will take a long while, unless you want to watch the whole thing, and if so, more power to you. Before we start, we need to activate the console. Go to Options, Advanced, Enable Developer Console, and make sure the box is ticked. Now press the tilde key to open the console and type in this command, CL-NVM wave status visible during wave 1. This will let you see what robots are remaining permanently, saving you from having to hit tab all the time. You will no longer be that guy who uses a canteen with 1 robot left in the wave. With this enabled, now we can go through how to beat Ghost Town with each and every class.
In MVM, the Scout's role is more of a supportive one, so while I don't like to follow the typical MVM meta, the usefulness of Mad Milk and Fan of War is too hard to pass up. Always use those items exclusively in any MVM mission, including this one. For your weapon, it needs to be the Soda Popper because of certain segments that require hype to distract robots from shooting your team. Your primary role of Scout is to get money. The more money you collect, the sooner your team can upgrade and the more your team can make liberal use of their quick canteens. However, that isn't your only focus. There are many jobs you must utilize when playing Scout. I usually give myself 4 steps, from most important to least. 1. Collect money. 2. Throw Mad Milk on a huge group of robots or on giants. 3. Mark a giant for death. 4. Kill any stragglers. For example, I will only do step 2 once step 1 is done, and only do step 3 once step 2 is done. If there is money on the ground, I'll collect it before I throw my Mad Milk, and I'll only kill stragglers once I have collected all the cash, Mad Milked, and marked for death a giant robot. For collecting money, I would recommend seeing how much money robots drop each wave. In the shoulder/medic wave, increments of 20 money drop every kill, meaning if 120 money was on the ground, you would know you would have 6 piles of money to find. If you can't figure out the maths, don't worry, a non-direct answer is fine, such as 4 to 6. Such small information is all you need to know when to stop your Easter egg hunt and instead get back into the fight. Money should normally either appear in front of your screen or unintentionally picked up while you're in the thick of it. But cash will always drop in locations where you may not collect it accidentally, resulting in money missed. Here are some common spots you should periodically check. Behind the barn house, on the mining house, on the salt rock, where the bomb is, where the tank was previously destroyed and you haven't been over there to collect it yet. The last thing about money is to look at the bottom left of your HUD. If the amount of money that's yet to be found is coloured white, you are still eligible for an A+ rating. If it is highlighted red, money has been permanently missed and cannot be collected anymore. So once money burns out, you do not need to look for that piece of money. It is too late. Throwing Mad Milk and marking robots for death should be self-explanatory. Just remember that robots are Ubered before entering the battlefield, meaning that any status effects will not work until the Uber wears off. So wait until the robots can be afflicted before you can make your move. Over time you should be able to know when to throw the Mad Milk, just as the robot jumps down, but for now, wait for a little bit until you get used to it.
For your upgrades, start on Scout. You will need to fully upgrade all resistances except fire. Then get max movement speed, 1 on jump height, 1 on Soda Popper's damage, projectile penetration, and then Mad Milk, recharge rate, and 35% slow on target. You should have 50 credits left. When the wave begins, stand at this point, then throw the Mad Milk down where the robots are. Just don't jump down prematurely and kill yourself. What a great start to this guide. When you see the Demonites, throw the Mad Milk at them, but do not follow up with the Fan of War, as you will take severe amounts of damage. Crit Demonites are the only robots you do not mark for death after Mad Milking. When dead, collect all the money and rinse and repeat until there are no more Demonites. By staying away from a Demonite's blades, you will have enough health for the next segment. After the robots are defeated, you will have a 15-second break where you can get a few upgrades. I recommend getting damage and ammo capacity, and then saving the money for the first tank that appears a little bit later. When the soldier/medic combos arrive, shoot the giant soldier to gather hype. Leave the medic killing to the other classes. Once hype is obtained, activate it, then jump over the soldiers' heads, dodging erratically while spamming bullets with your weapon. Your job here is to distract the robots while they shoot them. You will automatically collect money along the way. Walk back to the right stairs, then stand at this point. Mad Milk wants all the heavies and soldiers drop down and collect the money. Save the next Mad Milk for the giants, all while marking one of them for death. Continue doing this until there are no more smaller mobs and the leftover giants are about to die. Also, serve damage while you can. You can do this by jumping once a giant shoots at you. It will save your life time and time again. A tactic I like to do is to shoot the robots once I've marked them for death. It deals a lot of damage because of the no damage fall off ability that many crits grant. The faster the robots die, the quicker you can get your money and the more health you will get. When all the robots are dead, a tank will appear on the battlefield. This is your cue. Upgrade as quick as you can. I recommend maxing out your gun damage, getting 1 of clip size and 1 of ammo capacity. You should have 2 ammo capacity now. Stay by the bomber on the front line, where there should be an engineer there defending it. You will assist the engineer, where he kills the robots and you will collect the money they drop, no matter what other people say. Use your Mad Milk for sentry busters. But don't forget that although you're not really meant to shoot the tank but collect the money that the engineer drops, you should still shoot the tank if there's nothing else you need to do or if it's in the way. For example, at the moment I just helped the engineer with the sentry buster, and I used the remaining Mad Milk to slow down the scouts. But now that there's no scouts left, I shoot the tank to help the other team destroy it when it comes closer to them. Everyone else goes for the tank, where as soon as it's about to be destroyed, you run back towards it and stand next to the tank to instantly collect the money once downed. Then you just run back to where the sentry is, killing robots and collecting the money there once again. When all tanks are dead and 75 scouts are remaining, upgrade. At this point, I like to upgrade my Fan of War swing speed to guarantee marking for death in case the hit doesn't register, but you can keep upgrading your soda popper if you don't have that problem. As soon as you are upgraded, 40 giant rapid fire DEMOMAN will arrive. This is the point where you can really increase your support points. Throw Mad Milk at mark giants for death as often as you can. Shooting them is important too for lots of damage due to projectile penetration. Leave the tank for everyone else. Your job is to slow those robots down and finish them off. Remember, only one person can be marked for death at a time. When you are marking the giant DEMOMAN for death, be careful, there are still Demonites that roam around the area, and since there is no melee resistance, they can really do some damage to you. If there is a tank, like as usual, if it's in the way, shoot it. It's always best to help your team. But money is your #1 priority, and keeping those robots at bay. The same rule applies to the first tank. If the tank's about to be destroyed, stop what you're doing, go over there and finish it off. Collect the money that drops. Now's the time where you should be able to fully upgrade your weapon, and you should get as much quick canteens as possible. They will be very important for the spy wave. The direct hit soldiers are the next segment, where you'll be using lots of hype and dodging to distract them from targeting the damage classes. To get hype, go around the barn house and attack the falling soldiers from behind. Quickly eliminate one, then go back to hiding as soon as they turn around. The heavy/medic combo can be difficult, but if you prevent the medic from Ubering, it is easy. To drop the medic, players need to kill the medic with lots of burst damage. If the medic is below a certain health threshold, it will force its Uber. By marking the medic for death, this makes dropping Uber so much easier, but be careful of where you throw the Mad Milk.
The heavy's minigun can destroy the milk before it lands, so wait until the heavy stops targeting you, then strike from behind. Once milked and marked, the team should have no trouble taking it out. If you are stuck in a sticky situation like this, it is okay to use your hype and get out of there. A risky way to get the Mad Milk to hit the medic and the heavy is to go straight at them and hit them from behind. You must switch out to your primary weapon and shoot them instantly, however, because you will die. The combination of Mad Milk and Scattergun is very important to get right, especially on this segment. Get everything to work out, however, and not only will you be helping the team with healing and damage, but you'll also get all the money and have lots of damage yourself. Next is the elusive Spy Wave. This is by far the hardest part to collect our money on, and requires everyone, including yourself, to buy/spam quick canteens. This is where I start to miss cash. A great strategy to beat this wave, which won't be shown on the scout guide, but will be shown on others, and in detail the engineer guide, is to have an engineer to place their sentry on this wooden path, and the damage class to protect the engineer. Make sure nobody goes on top of the stairs, and all spies will go down the stairs and be trapped on the sentry, resulting in one of the hardest waves to become one of the easiest. I will be doing this trick throughout this guide to kill the spies, but if no sentry is present, everyone must focus on the tank over the spies, not the other way around. As a scout, you will be with the damage class, throwing Mad Milk over the huge spy group and collecting the money where the damage class kills. The engineer just needs to keep his sentry alive on that spot. Use quick canteens if you need to. When all but 5 spies are dead, everyone must run to the tanks and buy/spam quick canteens on all the tanks. Kill everything, and you and your team can breathe a sigh of relief. At this point, it doesn't matter what you buy now. I just buy anything I want and just have a laugh with it. But make sure you always have Ubercharged canteens. You must have at least 3 ready to buy at all times, because this is where it's going to get tricky. For the Huntsman snipers, stand on top of the right stairs and throw milk at the robots. Collect money periodically once there are less arrows about. Not getting hit here is important, but if you do die, get more Ubercharged canteens if you need them as quick as possible, and use one as soon as you enter the battlefield to collect the money. Die twice in a row, and money will be lost, so you must be vigilant. From now on, you will use Ubercharged canteens all the time, even if there's a little bit of damage coming to you. The crit soldiers are next. This is why only one jump height was bought, and where you will end up being a suicidal class to both distract the enemy and collect the cash that falls. Expect to die lots, use hype extensively, and spam Ubercharged canteens in order to keep your team and yourself alive. Buy yourself in the game constantly to keep up the distraction. When you fly to the skybox orbit or bonked, which will happen, jumping before or after will keep you on the ground and prevent fall damage, resulting in easier money collecting. Same rules apply for the crit DEMOMAN. When you have the money, buy fire resistance for the next segment. The crit pyros return in greater force. I would use hype here to avoid the pyro's flames. Collect money periodically for health, just like in the group of huntsmen. Missing 4, I can't find 4. NG, is there any money by you? Found it all. The last tank and 75 scouts appear. Get 3 Ubercharged canteens, then do the same thing as when the first scouts attack, staying with the NG at the front line to collect any cash the sentry kills. You do not need to go to the tank this time, as no money appears from it. The very last hurdle. Use all the Ubercharged canteens to collect any money that is dropped, and when attacked, you can jump to surf the heavy's damage. Kill them and you win. Getting A+ on Ghost Town was a massive achievement for me, as not only on this recording was the first time I succeeded, but the only time I celebrated a win in voice chat.
As for the making of this video, I have never seen anyone get A+ on Ghost Art before, and it's definitely 10 times harder than collecting all the money is on advanced/expert mode. And there it is. Second time I got A+ on Ghost Art.
Good job.
Not just A+, you got 0.
Good job.
I've only seen that happen 3 times.
Thanks a lot. Soldier to me is considered one of the damage classes on MVM, and the easiest to play. This is due to the Beggar's Bazooka output and the buff banner, which will be in this video's loadout. The airstrike/base jumper combo can be very effective, however the damage boost that the Beggar's Bazooka and buff banner gives to your entire team is much more valuable to me than focusing damage on only yourself. The escape plan will be the melee of choice. In case your health is low, you can pull it out and run to the nearest health pack to get back into the fight much faster. A neat trick that can increase your buff banner's availability is to wait until the buff banner's charge goes through the rage meter's writing, then shoot a salvo of 3 rockets. You'll instantly get your buff banner this way, keeping everyone's damage output high. You also want to keep your banner onto the engineer when there's robots, and snipers when there's tanks. The former will keep the engineer's sentry up for longer, resulting in less casualties as the robots will be focused on the sentry. The latter will let the sniper compete in tank damage. A fully upgraded bushwhacker with iniquits will give the sniper 400 to 600 damage a second, meaning that they can be effective on both robots and tanks. For our upgrades, start on the Beggar's Bazooka, then get max damage, 1 rocket specialist, max reload speed, max ammo capacity, 1 health on kill, 1 on bullet resistance, 2 on blast resistance, and max crit resistance. You should now have 50 credits left. When the wave begins, shoot everything you see. Try shooting 1 rocket at a time, as it then prevents any reloading. Just as the giants come down, activate the buff banner and shoot the giants. Keep going until there is nothing left, but stay back on top of the ramp to prevent a death. Where I'm at now is the bottom, where the sentry was before is the top. The only time you should attack head on, and why I'm ignoring my own advice, is if you're critted and there isn't much about that can kill you. Then you must get closer to make sure the projectile deviation doesn't make you miss. On the last group of double knights, don't activate the buff banner. Wait until the next segment. On the giants, one of the mobile damage classes, such as yourself, should go around the left barn with a buff banner at the ready. If there is a medic on your team, bring him along with you. Activate your banner as the robots come down, then kill the medics that follow, always shooting your bazooka 1 at a time. Keep activating your buff banner as often as possible to kill all the giants and ensure optimal damage output. Remember the trick I mentioned earlier in the video. The next is the soldiers, heavies, and a few giants. Repeat the same thing as you would at the beginning of the video and just stay at the top of the ramp here. Use your buff banner whenever you can and kill what you see. Shooting 1 at a time really is effective. When you see the giants, try and shoot 3 at once at the end of the rage meter as usual. If you get crits, just charge right in there and get in their faces. You're okay with the medic healing you. Being an explosive class, you are very effective against tanks. This is where learning the triple salvo tap, as previously learned, will give you the biggest benefit. The more often you deploy your banner, the more often you'll down tanks as a team with ease. If the sniper has a bushwhacker equipped and with his swing speed maxed, ask him before the game starts, remember that you should stay next to him throughout each banner's duration. Leave the robots to the engineer or scout, or heavy. The tanks are your domain. Save a buff banner for the next segment. When there's 75 scouts left and all tanks are dead, it's time to quickly upgrade. I would now get max clip size, max firing speed, 1 bullet resistance, 1 blast resistance, and max crit canteens. For the 40 giant DEMOMAN segment, if your sniper is any good, he should be able to kill everything on his own without any assistance. If you're blessed with such a sniper, focus on the tanks while he does his thing. If not, transition between both the robots and the tanks, depending on what has priority. Seeing how fast the first few tanks died, I knew that everyone else would be okay with the tanks, so I focused on the robots, shooting the tanks also if they were near them.
If tanks were a struggle, for example if the tank almost dropped the bomb, I would focus the tank instead. Save another buff banner for the next segment. It's your own worst enemy, only they're much more stronger and accurate than you. Take advantage of your surroundings and positioning by staying at the top of the ramp, peeking in and out of the wall, and you'll do fine. You won't get many kills here unless you use your buff banner, so if in doubt on who to give mini crits to, stay with your engineer if he is present. I should mention here that one of the downsides of the Beggar's Bazooka is that dispensers won't give you ammo. To get ammo from dispensers, run to the dispenser as you use your banner to both get ammo and get mini crits, saving time. The giant medic heavy combo is next. Making sure someone is mini critted by the time the medic dies is very important to prevent it from Ubering. When the medic's health drops to a certain threshold, he will use his Uber. You can alleviate this by doing sufficient burst damage to kill the medic before he has time to Uber, which will require the contribution of other players and many crits from your banner. I would save a banner from each combo to make sure the medic does not use their quick fix Uber. Save a buff banner for the next segment, where there is one more giant medic heavy remaining at the top of the screen, you know not to activate it. The elusive spy wave is back. If you don't know how to shut them down, they can be a problem. But by putting your sentry on the ledge below the mining house, if nobody goes on top of the mining house whatsoever, you can make all the spies spawn and be stuck by the engineer's sentry, meaning that they can be killed one by one. Unfortunately, this NG really wasn't listening to us, so I can't show it here. You can find out how to do it on the engineer subheading via the description's contents. As an explosive class, you are one of the classes that should take care of the spies. While the PYRO seems to be the logical choice for spy killing, he should be permanently attached to shooting the tank. However, if you have a sniper with a bushwhacker on your team, let someone else be on spy duty. The bushwhacker is thirsty for that 195 damage per swing onto the tank, and you need to be shooting the tank for that to happen. Don't forget to let everyone know to buy crit canteens, including yourself, otherwise the amount of tanks will be too overwhelming for your team. Upgrades can now be whatever you choose, although I would keep buying crit canteens upon each death, as the crit soldier stage will require you to kill them passively, as to prevent the light show of rockets raining down on you, where you'll inevitably reach the skyblocks, plummeting towards your doom. The crit huntsman now arrives, and like the buff banner soldiers, you want to stay at the top of the ramp peeking in and out, preferably with the buff banner active. If you are able, stay near the engineer, not the sentry, as to give him mini crits. His sentry gun can be destroyed easily until towards the end of the wave, so helping eliminating his threats keeps his attention away from your teammates. The faster all of these and the next crit groups are defeated, the easier it is on your survival and their GPUs. The crit soldiers are the same as the crit huntsman. Stay well back to avoid the blue screen of death, peek out every once in a while with suppressive fire, and stay near players or the engineer to support your team. Many players will have FPS issues on the crit soldiers wave. To prevent this, I recommend getting an FPS config. Comanglia's is really good, as not only does it look smooth, but it keeps your frames high too. The crit DEMOMAN are less menacing, but don't underestimate them. They can still decimate an overzealous player, so by remaining laid back you can preserve your streak, unlike me. I would still recommend peeking in and out with rockets. The crit pyros demand salvos of rockets, or getting behind them in order to do any damage. If you cannot get a clean shot where they won't reflect, it would be wise to play passively until the last tank arrives. The last tank arrives. As usual, the scout and engineer, or heavy, will challenge the robots. If you've got this far, they should know what they are doing, so focus the tank only, whether there is a bushwhacker sniper or not. The only exception to this rule is if the tank comes much later than the scouts, as like the medic / shoulder combo in the beginning of Wave 666, you're one of the best classes to combat the heavy medic pairs. They come first over the tank if they are competent with tank killing without you. When the heavy medic pairs come in, spam all your quick canteens. Many players fall here at the last hurdle, and you don't want that to happen when you're so close to victory. Kill everything however, and you can finally relax and celebrate with your new internet friends. GGWP.
PYRO is a fun class to play with many theory attributes. However, without the correct upgrades, weapons or tactics, you will find surviving this class very troublesome indeed. Pyro's flamethrower has the ability to deal the most DPS when critted, meaning that the best predictable loadout for Ghost Town is to focus on both crit damage and maintaining such output. Your primary needs to be a Phlogistonator. Using all of your oomph on tanks is the altogether best way to take them out, and with Uber Canteens can take out giant robots in seconds. I do not recommend airblasting or any other flamethrower, as there is far too many enemies and projectiles to play defensively, and you are putting yourself at a severe disadvantage in terms of damage output and tank usefulness in MVM. Airblasting the bomb back to the start is far too unlikely to be any effective, and a good team can just keep the robots back long enough for the bomb to be set back to the start on its own. Your secondary will be the shotgun, and while a Scorch Shot looks good on paper, you're only making it impossible for everyone else to hit things, meaning that it is a terrible weapon to use. You will also make any good snipers pretty mad at you, and without everyone taking part, beating Ghost Town will become even harder than it needs to be. So stick to the shotgun. The Phlogistonator charges are extremely fast anyway without any of the flare guns, and weapons like the Madden Melter are far too situational to be used. Your melee weapon should be the Home Wrecker or the Power Jack, depending on if you want to get to the front lines faster by holding the weapon out, or if you want to support your engineer with removing sappers. Your upgrades are more focused on resistances. You want on your Phlogistonator max damage, max ammo capacity, dual blast resistance, max bullet resistance, max crit resistance, and max Uber charge canteens. You should have 75 credits left. Be sure to keep topping up the Uber canteens whenever you die or there's a small break in the wave. When the wave starts and the pyros come down, take them out one by one. Try attacking them at the robot's sides, as their weapons will more likely miss you. Use your canteens on the small robots, as health on kill won't be acquired from the upgrade station till after the Demolites are defeated. When they first appear, walk some distance away, then use your oomph taunt. Make sure you hit the giant robots with your flamethrower on the edge of the flamethrower's range, as you'll hit them, but the robots won't attack you. Maintaining the giant's walking speed will ensure you won't be hit, but you'll keep hitting them also. Look at the top of the screen to see if there's any Demolites, then run to upgrade. Fill your Uber canteens, then buy as much health on kill on your flamethrower as you can. When the giants come down, use your oomph, then activate an Uber canteen. Do circular and solemn movements so the rockets don't knock you back, and you should be fine. Collect any money you see, and activate as many oomph taunts as you can. If lots of rockets are about to hit you, immediately use an Uber charge canteen. Once the giant soldiers die, get 2 movement speed, then any spare money on Uber canteens. As the heavies are about to arrive, get behind the barn house, use your taunt if you have it, then charge in and shoot what is closest to you. When the giant robots join in, make sure you have an oomph ready. When attacking giants, oomph, then circling and kiting them are the key to success. If it starts to fail, use an Uber charge canteen to finish them off. When the last giant heavy/soldier combo appears, save an oomph and upgrade. Go fully upgrade your blast resistance, movement speed, health on kill, and start fully upgrading health regen. When the tank comes, stay rooted to it. You are the best class against tanks, a tank shredder. Therefore it is wise for you to always use your taunt and shoot it as much as you can. Keep doing this for every tank, and you should easily get over 100,000 tank damage by the end of wave 666. Let everyone else get the robots. You are always on every single tank, no matter what. For upgrades, once you've upgraded health regen, you now want to focus on your shotgun. Ammo capacity and health on kill are the only things you need to ignore. The others you can upgrade in no particular order. The giant DEMOMAN segment should be obvious. Shoot, use Uber canteens and oomph when needed, and focus a tank when it appears. On the buff soldiers, spam your shotgun. The soldier's knockback is too much to get any closer to the robots, so just stay back at the top of the ramp with secondary suppressive fire, and only use your flamethrower if some soldiers get past the defences. For the heavy medic pairs, use the oomph to kill each medic. Remember that medics will use their Uber when their HP is below a certain threshold. A crit flamethrower will deny any Uber from happening, and Uber charge canteens will stop the heavy from killing you. On the last pair, save an oomph for the next wave. The spy wave is next. For the first tank, shoot it as fast as you can. This is because when the second tank appears, so will the spies. Do circles around the tank, spy checking yourself to prevent being stabbed, and oomph at the corner to not get stabbed after taunting. When the second tank reaches the salt rock, run up to the top and jump on top of it. When your is ready, go as far forward as possible whilst on top of the tank, then use it. When done correctly, you should stay on top of the tank when the taunt ends. Do this for every subsequent tank, getting quick canteens each time a tank is destroyed, and the tank shouldn't go far. Your team will thank you for it. For upgrades, go get more Uber canteens, then upgrade anything you want, provided you have enough to buy more later. Unfortunately, like the sniper, your usefulness after the spy wave is severely limited with small exceptions. In order to be any effective, you will be very suicidal in combat, trying to combat the robot's barrage of arrows, rockets and pipes. However, if you prefer survivability like me, you can just stay back and spam shotgun shells. The lack of any good clips here proves how much you are not needed in the crit huntsman / soldier / demoman segment. If you do choose the suicidal option, stay at the back of the barnhouse killing what jumps down. You cannot tackle more than 2 soldiers at once. The last tank, you should know what to do now. Focus the tank, and only the tank, letting everyone else dealing with the robots, even if a robot is getting close to the bomb. Go get Ubercharge canteens for the last pairs of robots, then kill what you can. If you aren't getting enough assistance from your team, use the shotgun and force their medics to Uber. They'll be unable to defend themselves after their duration. This is the only segment where it's generally okay, if they are far away from the bomb, to either make them Uber or drop their Uber. Once they are down, the wave is finally over where you can give yourself a big cheers. Definitely one of the more simplest classes to play if you'd rather not care about learning every little thing, but instead just want to burn things.
DEMOMAN is a diverse MVM class with many different ways to be effective, no matter if you're a passive, aggressive or balanced player. Passive players will want to be the pipe DEMOMAN, focusing only on their grenade launcher or iron bomber. Aggressive, tanky players will want to be the Demo Knight, utilizing their Persian Persuader with crit on kill, swing speed, damage and resistances. Balanced players should ultimately be the sticky DEMOMAN, being passive or aggressive depending on the situation, and focusing their upgrades on only their sticky bomb launcher or Scottish resistance. This guide will focus on the pipe DEMOMAN, as when everyone is doing their necessary jobs, you'll find that all your team needs is damage output, as they'll be distracting the robots. Your secondary will be the charging charge, not for the charging mechanic, which should never be used except for escaping, but for the 30% explosive resistance it grants. Fire resistance is useless on this wave because there are hardly any fire sources and you can just stay back from the pyros, so its upsize is negligible. Your upgrades will be more of a glass cannon, but there are no negligible downsides such as dying easily if you play passively and smart. You'll want to get max damage, max firing speed, max reload speed, 1 of projectile speed, 2 clip size, 2 health on kill, and 1 quick canteen. You should have 0 credits left. Expect to be buying quick canteens often, but less so if you have a Kritzkrieg medic with you. When the first robots arrive, shoot everything in the general direction of the enemy. When reloading, try not to shoot one at a time, as it is more effective reloading everything at once. The animation is shorter loading subsequent grenades versus opening the chamber and then reloading them. Shoot everything at once, reload everything at once. The giants should always be your priority, as they're much easier to hit, so reload everything just as they come down and shoot as soon as they are no longer invincible. Your slight projectile speed increase will help you reach from their ramp to their spawn point. Don't upgrade anymore, as you should learn its projectile pattern, providing more reliable damage. When the last Demo Knights die, I like to buy 1 clip size, then buy remaining money on quick canteens to help kill the medics. A non-crit direct impact will kill a medic in 1 shot, but the blast damage will force them to Uber. When the giant soldiers pop down, use your quick canteens and stand at the top of the ramp. You should be standing here throughout the wave, spamming grenades towards where the bomb is about to be grabbed or where the robots are located. Aim high. They should land down above the giants and onto the medics, making the segment easier overall. The heavies come down after the short break. This is where I consider buying clip size and bullet/blast resistances, starting with crit resistance. Don't go too far forward as you will die. Stay back on the ramp and you will eliminate them no matter what. As usual, be fully loaded by the time the giants come down, and unload everything you can into the group to take them out. Like the soldier, you are both effective against robots and tanks. Since we have an engineer though, I focus on the tanks. Remember to reload everything instead of reloading one at a time, and should have overall increased theoretical damage and fire rate. For upgrades, getting max clip size should be your concern, along with 2 health on kill and the rest of bullet and blast resistance. When the giant DEMOMAN arrive, shoot the robots on top of the ramp until the tank has entered the area. You want to take care of the tank, depending on how quick your team can down giants. Giants at this point should be destroyed upon 10 seconds of being engaged in battle. If they are frequently killing your team, then you should focus on the robots. If robots are dying quick, then do what you should be doing and focus the tank. The buff banner soldiers are where you want to start passively spamming your grenades in a general area towards the bomb. More will be explained about the trick after the spy wave. For the heavy medic combo, try to lob the grenades over the heavy to hit the medic. Use quick canteens to guarantee that the burst damage will drop the medic's uber instead of the robot using it, and this segment shouldn't be a problem. The spy wave is where you should be focusing the tanks. You can take care of the spies if there isn't a soldier, medic's projectile shield or sapper present, but more often than not it will be the tanks that will give you the hardest time, so shoot them only, taking out spies that are getting you or your teammates' way. Quick canteens should be bought by everyone to ensure they go down as swiftly as possible. Now you can upgrade whatever you want. I prefer health regen and max ammo capacity, as the indirect damage you will take and the amount of ammo you will use will mean that you can be effective on the battlefield whilst taking hardly any damage. Now is the trick I mentioned earlier. What you need to do is stand at this general area, then lob as much grenade as you can dispense over the wall, aiming for the middle or where the bomb is. You can do it at the other side too, but do know that without using your grenades to rocket jump to where the large ammo box or dispenser is, it will take a while to resupply, leaving your team without the damage they need. For the pyros, try and hit them at their side, as they will be unable to reflect the pipes. If the pyros do affect your grenades or other people's weapons, try and move unpredictably. You can't dodge everything, but one successful dodge can make all the difference. The last tank is yours to take down. While before you have the choice depending on how well your team does, with how easy the scouts are compared to the tank, and how they are much more difficult to hit, you don't have much of a choice this time. Once the tank is destroyed, go grab 3 quick canteens. When the heavy medic combo arrives after the scouts, it's time to use all your canteens. Aim at the middle of the crowd so it's easier to hit, and you should be okay. Once they go down, the wave is defeated, and you can go celebrate with everyone you know. The heavy is great when the medic is healing in your group, and your team is good at killing tanks but not the robots. A heavy in MVM really does take the stereotype of portable human sentry to heart, especially with your bulk and slow movement speed. You can't tank as well as the sentry, but you do bridge the gap between tankiness and damage, something your team will need if damage is the thing your team surely lacks. Your weapons should be the stock minigun, Dalico's bar if a medic isn't on your team, and the gloves are running urgently. The minigun provided the most damage per second, but Dalico's bar gives you the extra health you need before every segment when eaten, 400 health instead of 300, and the gloves are running urgently great for reaching the front line quicker, especially if your team doesn't have an engineer. I'm using the Tommy Slab this game because I'm a show-off and want people to appreciate my golden bullets. However, do not use the Tommy Slab like me, as you will suffer from decreased damage with negligible upsides for MVM. Your upgrades will be focused more on your gun and survivability. Go get max projectile penetration, max firing speed, 1 of destroy projectiles, 1 of knockback rage, 1 of health on kill, 1 on blast resistance, 2 on bullet resistance, max crit resistance, and 1 quick canteen. You should now have 0 credits left. If your team doesn't have an engineer, focus on getting ammo capacity over health on kill. As the wave starts, eat a Dalico's bar to start the wave with 400 health,
Playing as heavy is as easy as shooting what's either closest to you or what is in a long line to make use of your projectile penetration. In fact, that's where most of your damage will come from, shooting robots where 2 or more robots are behind it. Throughout this video, my positioning is based on how many robots I can shoot through whilst keeping to the middle or top of the ramp. When you find the perfect position, or burst damage is required to kill high priority robots quickly, such as a giant medic, this is when you use your quick canteen. My rage is only used when I have no quick canteens left and I want the same effect, as it will knock all robots back but halves all weapon damage when active. It can be fired via the middle mouse button. The soldiers coming down is a perfect example to test this. If a good sniper is present, you just want to not shoot while he kills the medics first. You can see how well he is doing by pressing tab and looking at his damage. This is so the medics will not Uber. If they do it, it can ruin the entire mission. There is no sniper or he isn't experienced, get yourself in a position where you can penetrate the most robots as explained before, then use your quick canteen. I recommend buying 3 of them before the soldiers arrive. Stand at the top of the ramp when using the quick canteens on the robots, and if you ate a Daleko's bar before the soldiers arrived, this level shouldn't be an issue. Before the heavies come down, eat the Daleko's bar, then shoot what's closest to you, penetrating robots when you can. When the giants come to the battlefield, try to penetrate 2 robots or more at all times. This ensures they go down quickly, and that you're a useful asset to your team. The tanks on MVM are quite controversial to you. Like not letting the snipers kill the medics first before shooting, heavy shooting a tank is seen as an accidental misdemeanor to many experienced players who know about the heavy's hidden downside. It has a 75% heavy resistance, meaning all minigun damage done to the tank is cut by 1/4, a huge detriment to the point where shooting the tank as a heavy is nigh but useless. I would only shoot the tanks if your team is having a hard time against them, otherwise stick to shooting the scouts and helping the engineer with robots that get away from his sentry gun's range. For upgrades, finish upgrading your gun. Max ammo capacity is important now, whether you have an engineer or not, and max health on kill and max bullet blast resistance is important too. The rest of your money goes to quick canteens and anything else you want to buy. The DEMOMAN segment is going to be focused on your penetration ability and your rage. Use quick canteens to kill the robots, and rage when the robots get to the top of the ramp. Keep to the robots when the tank arrives, and fill your rage as quick as you can to ensure the robots don't get past. This is done by penetrating as many robots as you can. The buff banished soldiers is where you're going to play passively like the sentry gun. Stay in positions where you're not peeking the robot spawn location, but where you can still shoot one robot at a time. You can peek out with quick canteens, but this is risky and will make you die often. The medic heavy combo is where you should buy quick canteens, for the giant medic to ensure he doesn't use his Uber and for the spy wave that comes next. When the last pair comes down, look at the top of the screen to see if there's only 1 giant medic or heavy. Buy 3 more quick canteens. Your teammate should also get them too. The spy wave is where you want to focus the spies. While normally I would stay on the tank and shoot the spies with quick canteens coming towards your teammates, NST has put his sentry in the position I've been explaining multiple times this entire video. By making sure nobody goes on top of the mining house, you can stand at this position with quick canteens, shooting all the spies that come down. When all spies die, go shoot the tank until they are destroyed. Upgrades are now whatever you choose. Although I would save around $500 for buying quick canteens when you die or when the robots get close to the bomb. For the Huntsman, Crit Soldiers and DEMOMAN segments, your effectiveness is somewhat limited, but not as bad as the PYRO is. Your skills of staying back slightly behind the wall and letting the robots come to you is properly tested here. Use your quick canteens when you see a break in the sustained web of fire and shoot as many robots as you can, providing that you still play passive throughout the wave. If the robots get past the defences and approach the bomb hatch, you can constantly buy quick canteens until the horde thins out, which can save the wave many times. When the pyros arrive, you aren't exactly very useful here. Buying fire resistance does help, but you will die very quickly once more than 1 pyro attacks you. As a result, I would stand back and shoot the pyros at a middle to long range, using canteens when needed. The last tank is here, and as with the first one, you should focus the robots instead of the tank. The 75% heavy resistance making you useless against them unless it's the direst of emergencies. Buy some more quick canteens for when the last medic heavy pairs come along. I would try to force their Uber so that the explosive classes can finish them off. When the final robot dies, the achievement is yours, and so is the satisfaction of beating Nightmare Mode. The Engineer has a different role in MVM, and can be a very underrated class to be. While the other classes focus on damage or support, the Engineer, his sentry that is strictly the tank. A Wrangle sentry with max health giving around 2700 health with 66% damage resistance and 100% crit resistance. This is massive, and is perfect for tanking damage so the rest of your team doesn't get attacked. As a result, your primary and secondary weapon is clear, the rescue ranger for healing your sentry without putting yourself at risk, and the Wrangler for making tanking possible. Your wrench should either be the stock wrench or Southern Hospitality. A few players like the Jag, but I seldom see a use of it, as it uses a lot more metal due to increased swing speed. Metal is a lot more valuable in 666, and the decreased construction time is useless, as you can just buy building upgrade canteens for just 50 money, pressing H to activate them. But what use is your tanking abilities without good building placement? Let's go through some sentry positions that I've seen throughout my game time at Ghost Town, starting with something simple. Putting your sentry at the spawn is a bad idea. Your team needs your presence at the front where all the action is, and playing so defensive is just as much of a felony as building at last when a game of casual starts. Expect to have 0 points every time you do this, so do not build your sentry here. Build it at the front line unless the robots will get past, which I will explain those positions very soon. To make things clear, you are the tank, so you determine the front line of your team. This sentry position behind the salt rock is also a bad idea. Robots rarely end up at the place where the sentry is covering, and like putting the sentry at spawn, your sentry is so much more useful killing robots than it is being idle until the robots deploys the bomb at the hatch. Putting your sentry beside the wall here is great, and will be the main place your sentry will be. It doesn't quite reach all the way, but your Wrangler will fix this, and since you yourself are weak and die easily, there are many escape routes without the need of a teleporter. If you must bring your sentry a little bit closer, you can by carrying the sentry tucked at the left wall to the stairs, which you can then place to kill the weaker robots. Overall, a great sentry spot that can both deal damage, protects the bomb area, and can tank when needed. Remember to look at the blue silhouettes to see where the bomb is going. If the bomb is going to your right, put it on the right wall. If the bomb is going to your left, put it on the left wall. Putting your sentry at the salt rock is a bad idea. Please don't do this. Not only are you denying your team from any possible tanking your sentry will be able to do, but any good snipers your team has will be rendered useless. This is because the robots always focus the sentry more often than any other class. So putting your sentry here will kill the sniper, as all the robots' focus will come towards him. If he doesn't die, you can be sure that the flash and smoke caused from the weapons, bullets and rockets will blind the sniper instead, meaning that you will end up with one player down, and in the sniper's case, an important player at that. Putting your sentry on top of the mining house is okay. It can work on segments where tanking is not needed, such as the very beginning, but overall isn't that great, as there are no escape routes except for when sentry jumping, which will kill you mid-air, and since you are cut off from the rest of your team, it makes it that much harder for teammates to assist you, and for scouts to collect any money. If the robots get past your defences, your sentry should go at the spawn. I like it here, as there is a large ammo pack right next to you, whilst being able to tank damage. If you're pressed for time, putting the sentry next to one of the spawn entrances is good too. Since the robots just come in small groups with 5-second or 25-second cooldowns, you can simply just move your sentry forward when there are no more threats, without the need of a dispenser. Now that your sentry is beside the wall, let's go through some dispenser spots and how they help your team. Many people love to put their dispensers at the spawn alongside the sentry. This, and anywhere around here, is bad. As I said, if you're staying back here while fighting the front line, you might as well be AFK. Your sentry can tank and deal damage when it represents the front line, so don't build it all the way back. Any robots that do get through can be killed easily by rescuing the sentry, taking the teleporter, and then defending that area. If your team is any good, you will never have that problem. A few engineers like to put their dispenser next to the salt rock when I play as sniper. While this may look helpful on paper, it actually isn't. Whenever a sniper needs ammo or health, there are 2 large packs right next to him. Not only that, you're bringing other classes up here in order to heal and resupply, meaning that you end up with the exact same situation as when the sentry is on Salt Rock. a dead sniper, no front line, and an inevitable loss to the 666 mission. Putting your dispenser here below the Manning house is a bad idea. It does work really well in the normal difficulty for Coal Town, but in Nightmare Wave 666, many classes that need ammo are far too squishy to be venturing that far forward when there's dozens of quick rocket barrages coming your way, and there's no escape route for them. So I would definitely avoid this position. Putting your dispenser alongside the wall where the blue silhouette is next to the sentry is perfect. It's in the ideal location where your team can not only resupply and heal out the action, but also close enough as to where they can also be in combat at the same time. Normally, I wouldn't recommend turtling like this as your dispenser is for your team, not yourself, but since your sentry will be here, the wall will protect you and your dispenser from the sentry boss's explosion. Make sure it's as close to the wall as possible, and you will also gain ammo through this wall, meaning you can both refill your ammo and shoot simultaneously. The next is your teleporter. The entrance should always go in between the two entrances here. This does not need to be explained, as if it did, you really shouldn't be playing this mission. However, the exit is a lot more dynamic. Let's go through each position and find the most useful one. As surprising as it may seem, I have also witnessed people put their exit at the spawn too. This is a bad idea. Like the dispenser, the teleporter is for your team, not for yourself, and everyone else, just like you, should be out there at the front fighting what robots shoot at you. Putting your exit where your sentry and dispenser is near to the wall is a bad idea also. Robots do not attack teleporters in MVM, but they do if robots are in the line of sight when someone takes it, or via splash damage when they try and destroy your other buildings. You end up having to watch over 3 buildings instead of 2, which is something that hinders you more than helps. Putting the teleporter on top of the salt rock in between the large packs is spot on. It's a great position as it covers every area that your team will be at and need to be. Places it doesn't cover are covered anywhere by just not taking the teleporter, such as the spawn. So, now we know our building placement, we can go and buy our upgrades. Go get 2 sentry firing speed, max building health, 2-way teleporters, max dispenser range, 2 metal capacity, max rescue range eclipse size, max firing speed, max reload speed and projectile penetration. You should now have 0 credits left. Now go put the buildings down as follows: the entrance in between the 2 spawn doors, the exit in between the 2 large packs on top of the salt rock, the sentry at the very front adjacent to the barn house, and the dispenser by the wall. The sentry will be back at the place I mentioned beforehand during the soldier medic segment. This is just so we can kill and tank the crit demo knights, as they will do 75 damage with max crit resistance, which is a lot when many hit your teammates simultaneously. Sentries, however, are immune to critical hits and can take many more swings without being destroyed. When the robots come down, have your rescue ranger aimed at the sentry, holding down the fire button until the pyros are destroyed. When the giant demo knights come down, switch to the wrangler and shoot the giants until you have no bullet ammo left, not rocket ammo, or if your sentry is taking a lot of damage. Then quickly switch to your rescue ranger and place it down at the middle of the ramp away from the robots, and use your wrangler again. You should see the pattern now. For small robots, you do not control the sentry, and for giant robots, you do wrangle it. And anytime your sentry needs ammo, or your sentry cannot tank any more damage, despite healing it with your rescue ranger, you rescue it with mouse 2. This will be the pattern you will see and what you should do throughout Wave 666. When the Nats Demo Knights come down, look at the top to see what's still alive. Run to get building upgrade canteens, and any spare money on max metal capacity, then wrench swing speed. This is for the soldier heavy segment later on. Before the soldiers come down, put your sentry exactly in the middle where the robots lose their Uber. This is to tank the soldiers coming down so the rockets don't shoot the sniper, pyro, heavy, or any other ally. Additionally, a sentry buster may come down. If so, wait until it makes the sound of it about to explode, then switch to your rescue ranger and press mouse 2 on the sentry. Any leftover medics will instantly die in the blast. The rest of the segment is as what you've already learned against giants. Wrangle, rescue when the sentry has no ammo or can no longer tank, then place it down away from combat to repair it with your gun. Don't use your wrench to repair until its swing speed is fully upgraded. I always put it by the dispenser, which you will see many times throughout the clips. When the heavy soldiers arrive, this is when you start always putting the sentry in the designated spot mentioned earlier alongside the wall. Just do not do what I did here and place it forward, as it will die far too quickly. When the giants come, wrangle and rescue just like before. The tanks is when you suddenly become very important. A good engineer can make the first tank segment so easy, everyone else will have ample time to upgrade. Just like the pyro's strength is tank killing, the robots are your domain. Put the sentry down as close as you dare, but not too far forward, sometimes moving it forward behind the tank so the sentry only focuses the robots. Not dying here is so important, but by not using the wrangler, remember they're small robots, not giants. You stay back using the rescue ranger to heal your sentry and rescuing it to give it ammo. The sentry will kill the scouts fast enough as to where you can solo this segment on your own. Your sentry doesn't need to move from this general location, no matter what other people say. Seriously, don't be this guy. When there's 75 scouts left, go upgrade. Once max metal capacity and wrench swing speed is maxed out, resistances are next. Get max blast resistance first, max building upgrade canteens, then max bullet resistance after the spy wave. For the giant DEMOMAN segment, use your sentry to wrangle every robot. Like the soldier medic pairs, put the sentry right up their spawn to tank the damage, then as the sentry can't tank anymore, rescue, repair, and tank once more. If your sentry dies, place one down and then use the canteen. Repeat this for every robot until destroyed. Think of this as a Reinhardt playing style if you're into Overwatch. This is when your sentry will no longer tank, but instead be placed passively to kill robots that get too close, as the robots are far too powerful to be able to place the sentry in the offensive tanking position. The new sentry placement is here, or here if the robots are going the other way, exactly diagonal to the edge of the wall. If the sentry is still getting destroyed here, you can move it into its repairing position for a short while, until the barrage is stopped. The giant heavy medic pairs are as simple as putting the sentry close right up their spawn, wrangling the medic, rescuing when needed, repairing any damage taken, then rinsing and repeating until the last heavy appears. The spy wave, the moment you've all been waiting for, and the moment where I can finally show off my trick for eliminating all spies. When the first tank arrives, put your sentry here, below the mining house but right next to the bottom of the steps. Making sure nobody is on the mining house is important as it disrupts the spawns, so make sure everyone is on the tank or on spy duty. Bring somebody with you to kill the spies and tell them to stand at the middle of the ramp. Your rescue ranger can do it with a few quick canteens, but there are better classes to deal with spies. A soldier, DEMOMAN or heavy is a great fit for this manner. Once there are no more spies coming to your sentry, move out and destroy the tank, using your wrangler to deal damage to it, picking it up and immediately placing it down to repair it while it shoots, then repeating this process until all tanks are down. For upgrades, it's whatever you choose. I now buy full bullet resistance for the final tank segment, with max movement speed and health and metal regen for the next segments to follow. The Huntsman, Soldier and DEMOMAN segments are where you use your passive sentry placement again, where it's diagonal to the edge of the wall. You can then stand where the door to below the salt rock is, right behind the sentry, and spam bolts to where the general bomb location is, just like the DEMOMAN. If there is a lot of incoming fire to you and your sentry, you should keep that alive first instead of blindly shooting at your opponents. Ultimately, you may not be able to shoot any sustainable fire depending on how well your team shoots the robots. If the robots are not getting destroyed, you will need to cater to your gun instead, as your sentry is able to kill what robots were missed by your teammates. The PYRO segment is where you are important again too, where you need to make sure it is killing the pyros without them getting past. Your sentry must always be up, whether it's in the offensive or passive location depends on your overall judgment. If the robots are getting close to your buildings, play it passively, if not, offensively. If it stays up throughout this segment, you've done it right. The last tank is where you will repeat what was last done with the first tank, bringing the sentry forwards to focus the robots while the rest of your team focuses the tank, where you stand at the top of the ramp, preventing your sentry's health and ammo from running out. This should be easy now that you know what you are doing. The robots at the end, the heavy medic pairs, are where you put the sentry gun in the passive position for the final time. You should know how to deal with these. When the robots die, your MVM mission is over, and while you don't get as much damage as the other classes, the tanking and small robot killing your sentry can do more than makes up for this. A great class if your team is very good at killing tanks, but needs that robot support. Some people believe that the medic isn't a good class in Ghost Town. This is undoubtedly false. The reason why this opinion is even considered is because the general meta for medic is to keep everyone overhealed and revive as many as possible. But if your team doesn't have anyone, or only 1 to 2 people doing lots of damage, you'll only end up being useful for keeping their kill streaks high, which really isn't that useful. In other MVM missions, reviving players is important, but since in Ghost Town money is so plentiful, people can just buy themselves into the game and upgrade without sacrifice. So the strategy we are doing is something I've made up myself about a year ago. It is unique but a lot of fun, and will certainly make your chosen pocket want to share his positive feedback about you. To do this, you need these weapons. The Bloodsauger for keeping yourself alive when shooting Mad Milk syringes, the Kritzkrieg which makes medic viable in MVM, the other options pale in comparison and shouldn't be used because of how important damage is, and due to a certain reviving trick that will speed up the reviving rate without the need of the quick fix or vaccinator. To do this, click mouse 1 as quick as you can over a target, making sure nobody else is in the way. This will speed up reviving times by a half. Just look how fast it is compared to not spam clicking the fire button. The best melee weapon is the Ubersaw, which will be extensively used alongside a swing speed boost and Uber canteens to permit constant crits flow and ensure you create the carry your team needs when all hope seems lost. It starts off with these upgrades: 1 Uber duration, 1 projectile shield, max share canteens, max Ubersaw swing speed, 3 Ubercharge canteens. Remember to buy max share canteens first before getting this. Max bullet, blast and crit resistance, and max movement speed. You should have 65 credits left, but if you think Mad Milk syringes are more important to buy first, you can try swapping a crit resistance for it instead, leaving you with 15 credits. The robots arrive, and this is when you can test the strategy I was mentioning. When the first giant demonites fall, crit's the player of your choice. I recommend choosing players over time that consistently do well when given the crit boost, such as a heavy, soldier or demoman. Then just as it ends, around 5% Uber remaining, use your Uber canteen whilst healing the crit's player. Switch to your Ubersaw, get 4 melee hits, back away, jumping will make bullets propel you forward, then use crits on him once more, depending on if the giants have lots of health left, or if there is a massive amount of small robots about. Save a crits for the next segment. When there are 4 giant demonites left, look above to see what robots remain. Buy more Uber canteens, then max Uber duration, depending on what your money count is, and if you have bought max crit resistance and Mad Milk syringes yet. Watching how I do this strategy in the Soldier Medic segment should give you the general idea on what to do. Get 100% charge, crits, use an Uber canteen as soon as it expires, grab more Uber with the Ubersaw, then crits the same person again. When you use an Uber canteen, depends on robots that exist. Using Uber canteens every time regardless of difficulty should be mandatory at first while you get used to it, but eventually you'll be able to not need to use Uber canteens in some segments. This one, and the first tank being examples. Remember to keep using your syringe gun on the giants for your team to heal. A second of shooting as you close in on the robots is all you really need before you can go back to Uber gathering once more. If your team has a sniper, try to fully overheal him before each wave of robots begin if you are not buying canteens. It will give him the extra bulk crucial for staying alive if he gets too much robot aggro. The Soldier Heavy segment and all other segments should be simple when it comes to crits and Ubersaw hitting, but now is the time where the projectile shield should be used. It must be used on either the top or the bottom of the ramp, as deploying it in the middle will allow robots to shoot under the shield and attack your weak spot. When it should be activated should be common sense. If the robots or giants are coming when you think somebody will die if you don't do anything, then you use your shield. Shielding the sentry is a really wise thing to do, as it gives your engineer an offensive option. When the last giant soldier is coming, looking to see what robots are left, run to buy more Uber canteens, and the rest goes to Bloodsauger firing speed, Kritzkrieg Uber duration, healing mastery, and overheal expert. What you upgrade first doesn't matter, as you should be able to fully upgrade the latter of the two by the end of the first tanks. At your given state, you are useless against tanks, but you do have one saving grace, your Uber Saw. Roam around the front, killing scouts with your Uber Saw and collecting any money from any kills you make. You do not need to use any Uber canteens here. When fully charged, go back to the tank and crit's a particularly good tank killer class. A PYRO is the best of crits, but a soldier and DEMOMAN can work too if there isn't one. Keep repeating this until no more tanks are present, then fully upgrade healing mastery and overheal expert. For the giant DEMOMAN, it all depends on your team. Scavenge Uber and crit someone on the robots if your team's tank damage is very good, whilst critting someone on the tank if your team's robot damage is good. I would recommend the tanks, but here it all depends on how your team composition holds out. On the last 4 giant DEMOMAN, save your crits for the next segment. For the buff vanished soldiers, deploy the crits and shield on one of the 3 classes I mentioned earlier, Heavy, Soldier or DEMOMAN. Make sure the shield is at the top of the ramp to prevent being hit. If you're not full on canteens, I would buy some as soon as your shield runs out and the segment ends, but be quick. Health regen and max blood Sauger fire speed are also good upgrade spends. The heavy medic pairs should now be easy now that you know what to do. See if you can figure out what you need to do. Remember to inflict burst damage on the medic to take him down by critting, and to get everyone to buy quick canteens for the spy wave. You are an exception, as you'll see why. The spy wave is when you become important. Your projectile shield can kill a lot of spies, however since protecting the engineer sentry will result in disturbed spawns, stay by the tank protecting your team. If a spy is getting too close to a team member, Uber, then go scavenging with your Uber Saw. If a spy misses his backstab, you can get 50% Uber if you kill him quickly. When fully charged, crits like before. I would buy a few quick canteens once Uber canteens have been wasted, but not many. Upgrade max Uber charge rate in this segment, as you won't be able to farm Uber anymore for a while. Then max projectile shield, max Uber canteens and max health regen. Buy max Uber Saw health on kill afterwards if you can afford it. The Huntsman segment is the last group of robots where you can get away at Uber Sawing for crits, but even then I wouldn't recommend it, as your team needs the shield now more than anything. This is where Uber charge rates come into play, as it will be your only reliable source of improving your team's damage. The crit soldiers is when you are in your personal lockdown mode, shielding whatever comes your way. Remember to stand on top of the ramp and spread your heals to ensure a faster Uber charge rate and faster shield recharge rate. You can still heal when the shield is deployed, so keep healing. The crit DEMOMAN is similar, but this time you can actually see where you're aiming at. That doesn't mean you should change what you are doing. You are strictly a tank here, shielding your teammates from damage. The best way to use your shield is to not move once deployed unless necessary. This is so your shield is more reliable, as when it is moving the shield may accidentally come out of a player's view long enough to take an entire barrage of enemy explosives. Be dependable. The crit pyros are unique, where the fire will pass through the shield, so use any spare Uber canteens on farming Uber with the Uber Saw again. Crits as often yet effectively as possible. The last tank is done the same as the first one. Uber Saw the scouts, crits the tank killers, repeat until it's destroyed. Notice how I'm always waiting for the soldier to reload before activating the crits. This ensures a lot of burst damage is inflicted, great for suddenly turning the tides of battle into your favour. Use the crits and its respective canteens on the heavy medic pairs. The shield is also ideal here, so again having a good heal order is important. Try to choose classes such as the soldier and DEMOMAN so they can drop the medics without making them Uber. Repeat this until it's over, where you will have ultimately supported your team to victory with the people you crits beaming at you, spamming E at you for the many matches you have with them in the future. Sniper is, in my opinion, the best class in Ghost Town. It is my go-to class when the team isn't very good, as not only can you carry teams if you're a good shot, but you can also be helpful on tanks too with the right loadout. Remember, this class does take the most time to be efficient at. Knowing the robot's movement patterns, instinctively aiming for the head, and having consistent performance is something that will take mostly a few weeks to do. If you're doing Ghost Town daily, of course. Figure it out though, and you'll be that player who will give many new players their first Ghost Town victory. Your primary weapon is drawn between 3 weapons: the City Sleeper, the Hitman's Heatmaker, and the Machina. Since we're buying projectile penetration at the start for 400 money, and you should always be going for as much headshots as possible, you end up with many downsides with the Macada, such as channel vision as you have to zoom into fire, without any useful upsides whatsoever. This is definitely the worst of the three. The Hitman's Heatmaker is the best weapon for overall damage, and suits a team where you have a buff banner soldier, or if you're just learning how to snipe due to the focus ability, making it much easier for newer snipers to aim. It's definitely my favourite sniper rifle, and because of how powerful it is, and how it can be used to permanently enhance sniper aim, this will be the sniper rifle we will use in this video. The City Sleeper is a very good choice when done as a support role, and you've mastered the aim of the Hitman's Heatmaker, and is great when there is no buff banner soldier. Headshots do not work, but explosive headshot will, meaning they actually make every robot around it be covered in Jurati. If there are two snipers on your team, the combination of Hitman's Heatmaker Sniper having the right side of Assault Rock and its tower pack, and the City Sleeper Sniper having the left side, is very effective. Basher666 and I have run many MVM missions with this setup. I set him up with the Jurati, he finishes the Giants off. Your secondary and melee are not so open, however. The combination of Cleaner's Carbine and Bushwhacker is essential for tag damage. To use the Cleaner's Carbine to quiet commuter without reloading, stand as close to the tank as possible, then shoot 9 or more bullets at it. Holding down the firing button is recommended. Just as you shoot 9 bullets whilst holding down mouse 1, quickly press mouse 2 and then switch to the Bushwhacker. As the quiet commuter runs out, switch to the Cleaner's Carbine and repeat as needed. You should only be doing this Carbine and Bushwhacker combo on the tanks. Use your sniper rifle on the robots. Unfortunately, I am not using the Cleaner's Carbine this MVM run, as during the recording, I was waiting on my killstreak version on the Steam Community Market. All but the last 2 upgrades on your sniper rifle are essential to upgrade to max. Buy on your Hitman's Heatmaker, max damage, max explosive headshots, max reload speed, max faster charge, projectile penetration, 1 ammo capacity, and 1 crit resistance. You should have 0 credits left. The crit resistance is for tank segment later on, but you can buy a quick canteen for the soldier medic segment instead if you plan to solo it. Before the first robots arrive, make sure you stand on top of the salt rock next to the ammo pack, where you are aiming at this point and you're fully charged. Then start aiming at the pyros or scouts. As soon as you get a kill, activate focus. The more times you activate it, the more damage you do, as the scope staying zoomed in makes target acquisition much easier and gives you a small boost of damage. So spam focus constantly. If you miss everything, don't worry. Wait for the bomb to come down and then shoot that scout, which is a much easier target. When the giants come down, shoot their heads, and if focus is still on, hold down the fire button, moving your mouse gently as the robots move forward. Giants will be the easiest robots to kill and your primary source of damage. The soldier medic segment is very important for you. You are the best class for killing medics, and with focus on, you can almost solo this segment on your own. Before the robots come down, ask everyone to not shoot the medics, as they will make the medics uber, which can ruin the entire mission. Shoot the giant soldier's head, which will kill any medics near it, then activate focus as soon as you do. Do this for every soldier, and once all medics are down, use the quick canteen if you have it, then shoot one soldier's head only until it dies. Then switch to another, repeating this until they are all down. If rocket starts rocketing towards you, strafe left, right, or back as you shoot, keeping to slow, lengthy movements and strafing. Teaching yourself to dodge the quick rockets here is vital, as when you can avoid every one of them, you will find it easier to farm all the damage. When the heavies and soldiers lose their uber, shoot one of the heavies' heads, as their slow movement makes them an easier target. The second headshot on another heavy should kill every robot. Don't forget to activate focus as soon as you get a kill. When the giants come down, shoot the giant that has the most small robots around it, then focus that robot. When you hear the announcer say spies are coming, jump on top of the salt rock sign by jumping and crouching at the same time. It doesn't have to be the very top, just the first jump is all you need to give you more time against spies. Still look around though, you are very easy to kill without the Razorback, so you will need to be on the lookout for suspicious players and listen out for the robot spy laughing voice line. Before the last pairs of giants arrive, look at the top to see what remains. Upgrade. Go get max Bushwhacker swing speed, max carbine firing speed, and spare money on crit resistance and bullet resistance. I stupidly forgot to upgrade the carbine firing speed here because I'm an idiot, but pretend I do anyway. When the tank arrives, shoot the scouts until you have focus full, but do not use it. Instead, run to the tank and do the carbine plus bushwhacker trick. Shoot 9 bullets, over is fine, and whilst holding down mouse 1, quickly press mouse 2 and switch to your melee, using that to hit the tank. When the Crikey runs out, switch back to the carbine once more. Do this until all tanks are down. If you die here, gather focus again before going for the tank. When this happens, upgrade your Heatmaker ammo capacity to max, 1 health on kill, then buy 1 carbine clip size, and any spare money on max blast resistance. This segment is all you. The giant Demoman are set up in such a way where you can take out every Demoman without any assistance while they take out the tank. This is the only tank you leave alone, as your usefulness on this segment against the robots is too great. Start by activating focus on the giants, then tracking and killing each giant one by one. Once you feel comfortable doing this without any help, ask people to take care of the tank that arrives while you do all the work. Do good enough at this point, and you can end up with well over 200,000 damage, even when you're not halfway through. The buff banner soldiers are where you will start to get hit, but you're still important. Headshot what you can, learning the robot's movements, killing a robot that has the bomb for easier headshots, and instinctively aiming for the head will make things much easier. One way to avoid damage here is to stand a little further back than normal. This head glitching, in CSGO terminology, allows you to see what you are aiming at, while more rockets than usual will harmlessly hit the wall under you. Such positional advantage allowing you to be actively in the fight where most classes are forced to play defensively. The medic heavy combo is where you focus less on damage but more on timing. Deal damage to the medic, then wait until the medic has 900 HP. Then shoot, forcing a newer drop and getting rid of any pressure your team has. The spy wave is when you should start carbining and meleeing the tank once more. You should know how to do this combo by now. You can take out the spies, but I personally think it's a bit too difficult for snipers to be on spy duty. Head hitboxes are generally hard to see when the spy is disguised, so I would swing at the tanks instead. However, if you insist only taking out the spies, or if your team tank damage is any good, jump onto this pumpkin, keeping your back against the wall, then as the spies try and stab your hitbox, headshot them by aiming for their collarbone. The result is lots of spy killing potential. When each tank dies, buy crit canteens and you should do well with a potent team. Upgrade by getting max bullet and blast resistance, and any spare money on health regen. The rest is uber canteens, and up to you. Again, you are important for the next 3 segments. Like the soldier, you can be effective here while most classes will have to sit back and wait for the robots to come to them. Headshot what you can hit, using the bomber's 3 headshots and strafing back into head glitching spots to make less spam hit you. You are guaranteed to get hit in some way, so don't let it deter and hinder your progress. Get back up and start shooting. The crit soldiers may get you killed quite a bit, but deaths are normal for this segment. You should know what to do by now. The same goes with the Demoman. Stay back, avoid projectiles, and go for peeking headshots. Eventually you'll get it down. The crit pyros are more safe, but still a high priority target. As I've said, what you should remember throughout Wave 666 is to use focus in order to achieve maximum damage and easier headshots. By always activating focus, you're making life much easier for yourself. The last tank is just like the first one, minus the focus meter you need to acquire. Just carbine, then melee swing until the tank dies. The heavy medic pairs are important to take down. You are the best class for killing them, so aim for the small moving heavies to ensure you hit the head, as the explosive headshots will kill a medic anywhere without the need of a manual headshot. Getting consecutive explosive headshots will make the last hurdle that much easier. Once you win, celebrations can happen, and not only for yourself, a celebration from your team too, as you carry them all the way to victory. Nice job. The spy is, well, unfortunately a class that is severely underpowered. While the other 8 classes have unique roles that makes them useful in some sort of way, the spy is not very good. Everything the spy does, the sniper can do so much better. I do apologise for how bad I am when being spy on Ghost Town, and for being carried so hard. Seriously, the first thing to learn about being MVM spy is to not be a spy in the first place. until he gets a buff, such as possibly making him harder to detect, and giving him a unique role that will no longer make him outmatched by other classes. I do not mind if you do play as Spy, but you will be letting your team down, which to many people who want to win Ghost Town will result in you being kicked from the server. But if you insist in playing Spy, however, here's the weapons you need. The stock revolver will be your primary, as it's the most powerful option for what its uses will be, and what sapper you use really doesn't matter, as every sapper works exactly the same way in MVM. Your knife is a bit more open. I was using the kunai in this video, but if you are finding yourself dying often before you're getting your first kill, use the big earner for the increased speed boost. The Spicicle is also good, as fire sources are minimal in Ghost Town, meaning you have a knife with upsides and no logical downsides. However, the Your Eternal Reward is altogether the very best knife once you have your disguise, as you'll be able to actually kill multiple robots at once. The Dead Ringer, however, is a must. It is so important you use it, as it will be the only way to cleanly escape once you're discovered. It also makes robots stop targeting you sooner, which is also a really helpful trait for improving kills and overall DPS. Your upgrades will be rather spread out, by max revolver firing speed, max knife armor penetration, max attack speed, 1 bullet resistance, 1 blast resistance, max crit resistance, max movement speed, and 2 Uber canteens. You should have 50 credits left. Sapper power will be upgraded soon, so collect as much money as you can. You are fairly decent at getting money, but a scout is much better. Any non-kunai users need at least 2 health on kill first for survivability. Before the first robots come down, get behind the robots and have your sapper ready. When the robots are sapped, you can sap at any angle, so stab however you want for 900 damage. When the giants come, attack twice and Dead Ringer away. Uncloak, disguise, repeat until the robots die. Choose Scout as your disguise throughout the wave if you're not using the Your Eternal Reward. When the soldiers and medics jump in, sap the first medics. This will prevent them from Ubering and will get the medic killing classes into position. Stab all the medics you can reach, ringering in and out until each medic is dropped, then stab the soldiers one by one. You should get 2 to 3 stabs on any giant until they turn around and shoot you, whether they're sapped or not, so use the sapper on the small robots only. The exceptions are giant medics, who will never turn around, no matter how much you stab them. Upgrade now by buying 2 of Robot Sapper Power, then 1 Revolver Clip Size. This will let you shoot all your ammo via max crits on kill before needing to reload, which means you do not need to upgrade it anymore. Max crits on kill will be upgraded later. The Soldier Heavy group is as simple as sapping in the middle, then stabbing what you can see. The giants you repeat as follows: stab, retreat, etc. Use the Barnhouse to uncloak, as no robots will see nor target you. When it comes to small robots and giants, this is all you need to know about Spy. Other than collecting money, this is all you should be doing. When the last Soldier Heavy giant arrives, look above for the robot composition. Upgrade max crits on kills for the tanks, then any spare money on maxing your bullets and blast resistance. The tanks, you now function in a similar matter to the Demo Knight. Kill any scout, sapping if it helps you, then as soon as you stab one, quickly switch to your revolver and spam all 9 crit bullets onto the nearest tank. Reload, then repeat this throughout the segment. Any stabs you get, expend all ammo on the tank you see. Don't forget to get ammo packs, as ammo will be an issue. When the tanks die, buy more Uber canteens to help you with escapes, along with maxing your sapper power. Spare money will go to max revolver ammo capacity and projectile penetration for the spy wave, and max jump height for better escapes when deploying your cloak. The DEMOMAN segment arrives. Stab 2 to 3 times, then bring it away, redisguise, and repeat. Sap any Demo Knights that arrive and stab those so you can shoot the revolver on the giants. Then it's back to stabbing again. The buff banished soldiers require a lot of sapping. The more often you sap, the more safe your teammates are. In this case, and the crit Huntsman Soldier DEMOMAN PYRO segments, your sapper is more useful than your knife. The giant medic heavy pairs is the 1 out of 3 times you are very effective. The giant medic will never turn around, so you can hold down the fire button and stab until the medic dies. For the heavy, you can try turning as the giant turns to keep onto its back, like a rodeo. This will keep you stabbing even when you're detected. The spy wave is the second time where you are very effective. Your sapper can stop every spy, as they come in 9 groups of 12. Knowing the spawns is important. They mostly spawn above the mining house if nobody is there, but if there is, they can spawn at below the mining house, the barn house, below the salt rock, by the boxes, by the side building, the hay, the patio, and the dead end. There are likely more I've missed, but by knowing where your teammates are, most likely will be by your tank or sentry. You can go to one of these spots and sap as soon as the groups uncloak. If this fails, the plan B is to just run about, scouting what spies are available to kill. Kill a spy with your knife, use your revolver on the tank. I would not spec any crit canteens, as even with crits, you are abysmal against any kind of tank, even more so than the heavy. So stay on spy duty instead. Your sapper and knife able to keep your party alive. Upgrades are now whatever you choose after you buy max health regen, but make sure you are always topped up with free Uber canteens. The next 4 segments, you do the exact same thing as with the buff banner soldiers. Sap as many robots as quickly as possible. Do not stab. You will be instantly killed, even if you have a dead ringer charge, and you will be inactive for most of the fight if you use it. Exceptions are being if you are using your eternal reward. So just stay disguised, sap, and keep sapping. The last tank is as always the same as the first tank. Sap, kill scouts, then shoot your revolver on the tanks. Repeat this until destroyed. The medic heavy pairs are the third time you are useful. This is because the pairs group up when pushing forward. Sap as soon as they group up, but before they Uber. Then stab one of the medics that are not stabbed. This will help your team not fall at the very end. Use an Uber canteen when you stab. Do this again and there will only be a few robots left. Kill those and the mission will be over. Not bad if you and your team want a challenge, but at the current state Bai is in, he is not worth choosing for wave 666. After all, who you choose is up to you. Now that you know how to do well in each class, we can talk about something that unfortunately has a varied opinion. So therefore I plan to create a general idea and meta for how we can consider the ideal team within every 666 mission. The best way to create a strong team is to have 3 robot-oriented classes and 3 tank-oriented classes. The heavy and engineer are good robot killers only, and the scout and pyro are good tank killers only. The soldier, demoman and sniper are good at both, while the spy is going to get the cold shoulder until he is buffed and is given a useful unique role. Any of these can be mixed and matched. 6 soldiers, 3 snipers and 3 scouts, 2 heavies, an NG and 3 demomen. Anything can work as long as you follow this method of team composition and at least 4 of your players are experienced. The medic is an exception to this rule where there should be only one of them no matter what. There should never be 2 or more medics in the battlefield. So, this is the end. Wasn't that fun? Only a minute to go, so let's go through some of the special thanks who helped make this video possible. Basher666 for being in 6 of my MVM runs during recording, the most out of everyone. Thanks so much, you're awesome to be around. PC Place for being in 4 of my runs. You can check out PC Place's MVM server for experienced players only in the YouTube description. JRAD Uchiha 34 and the Joker for being in 3 of my runs, JRAD more specifically for being the actor during each class subtitle. NST for being in 3 of my runs and finally returning to the TF2 community. Austin141141 for being in 2 of my runs, you did great. Dronic, Roll Up, Dog of Wisdom, Bug-Eyed Monster and Pato Rona for being in 1 of my runs. Dog of Wisdom and Bug-Eyed Monster more specifically for doing the most MVM runs with me when I'm not recording. I am sorry, I'll record more with you both in a future MVM video, I promise. Keegaman for being the spy crab during the engineer subtitle. So this is my channel, where I focus on lengthy guides throughout Team Fortress 2, and if I get popular, other games too. As of now, thank you so much to the 30 subscribers for being notified. As of now, it's truly a great start. If you know anyone who needs MVM assistance, send them a link to this video. I also want to thank all of you for staying this far. BedG52 now says his goodbyes, and see you soon.